Dope Discussions Podcast. Dope discussions, gated Erica woke discussions, mob ties, how they rock and think they both was cousins, gifting you with their words so you might know you something. Just go and look for them live, they do it every Sunday. Every Sunday.
And we gon' bring you that dope.
And we gon' bring you that dope. It's Gator Beat it, baby. Main state to state, baby, coast to coast. Like the vibe, baby, spark the jokes.
And we gon' bring you that dope.
Come talk with Erica, man, talk with G. And all you gotta do is talk with me.
And we gon' bring you that dope. 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 Yeah. What up?
Hey, y'all. Hey, Tashura. What's up,
Lord.
Q?
What up, Q? Yeah, man, look. Had to show him, Q. Had to show
He went full in.
him. For real. You know, if you can't go full in, you might as well just leave it at home. Just saying. Welcome,
Hey.
everybody.
Yes. Welcome back to another Dope Discussion Sunday. How y'all doing?
What's going on? I see Tashura out there. What's going on? I see you.
Aye,
I see
Captain.
What's up?
What you been up to, Gator?
Hey, look, it has been a week. It has been a week. That's all I'm gonna say. It has been a week. But you know what? It's a blessing to get through this week and to sit here on a Sunday talking to my peoples.
Yes.
And I mean, I love it, man. It's a blessing just to be able to reach out to everybody and to speak to everybody. So, hey, everybody, how y'all doing? Say it back.
Yes. This has been an awesome week. And guess what, y'all? I found out I'm going to be the grandmother of a little girl.
Congratulations.
Thank
Look
you.
at that. They're going to be calling her T. Erica. Oh, no. Grandma Erica. Oh, no.
Yeah, I might let them call me Nana. I might
You
let
call
them.
you Nana?
Yeah.
Yeah. They can slip by with Nana. We'll let that go.
Mhm.
Congratulations, though. I know you excited.
Yes, I'm ready to spoil her because I don't have any daughters. I have all boys, so I'm looking to spoil her and then send her back to her parents.
Right. That's gonna be hey, we've been talking about these things on this show.
Yes.
Can't be doing this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely, because then she the girl too. Oh Lord.
Right.
Yeah, she gonna get spoiled.
Yes. I already told my son I'm gonna wish everything you did to me come back to you. like Celie.
Dude, he gonna be sitting there like, oh Lord, Mama, why you ain't tell me it was this bad?
Woo, he gonna be a girl dad. So I'm gonna be praying for him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Look, I'm gonna be praying for him and laughing at him.
Right. You gonna be coming by to visit. Let me come by and drop in on you, see just so you can see the stress on his face.
Yes. Yes. So I am excited about today's conversation. Today is going to be the first of, hopefully many. We're doing a special conversation called Spotlight Convos. And what this consists of is going to be one male guest, one female guest, and we'll have a central topic, and we want to get the male and female perspective. We want We want the man to be able to ask any question that he want to ask to the woman, to get, unanswered questions answered, and vice versa. And then we want to be able to give the floor to the person answering the questions to just really soak in what they're saying and listen, because we're trying to bridge the gap between men and women. We are so sick and tired and sick of seeing men and women bashing each other and talking about why it's the other person's fault, and why people are not having, long lasting relationships anymore. We sick of seeing all of that. Mm-hmm. So on this platform, we're going to be making sure that we come together, understand each other, not disrespect each other. And we're going to be building a bridge to where we can get those relationships back on track, because we are so sick and tired of seeing the riff-raff and the going back and forth and the finger pointing. I'm getting my letters all mixed up because I'm passionate about it.
Right. I mean, the biggest thing is that you see so much toxicity online when you're dealing with. It's almost like a battle of the sexes. Somebody got to be right. Everybody got to be right. They can't take the time to sit there and listen and understand and really comprehend where their partner is coming from, or the opposite sex in general. And that's why important conversations like this are quote unquote important, because we give that platform. We have a platform, I should say, where we don't have a lot of bickering and back and forth and toxicity and all that kind of stuff. So if you is expecting one of us to start driving the other one about something, all in good fun. But we want to actually open it up, and we want to open it up to you guys out there too. If you guys have any questions that you want to, just want to ask us about, feel free to. We may not be able to get to it today, but hey, put it in the pocket for later. We want to answer all those things.
Good evening, Tony. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see if we can get some wonderful background music. Didn't we choose a song?
I think we did.
Yeah, we did. Let's see how it sounds.
Okay.
Get the mood right.
I thought we had chose Back That Ass.
Did what?
Wait a minute. This ain't Juvenile.
You crazy for that.
I've been hoodwinked.
That's next week's show. That's next week.
Oh, okay. That's next week. But I like this. This is real, mellow background music and everything. And then, we got our texturous voices over there,
Yes. So we love music. So anytime we can get away with playing some music, and it just mellows you out. And then we're going to have these spotlight conversations, and we're going to be talking about a topic that's not that fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Heartbreak.
For real.
And
we ain't talking about the anyone.
Right. What made me want to talk about this is because I think there's a lot of confusion and miscommunication around how men and women handle heartbreak differently and the same. Yeah. And I think it doesn't affect one gender more than the other. I think you might see it expressed differently. Right. But sometimes the way it looks makes us think that the other person is either handling it better or handling it worse. But that may not be the case. Some people may just be better at hiding it.
Right. Or you just might be seeing the trauma response from somebody.
Yes.
A lot of times men be like, well, you handle it better. No, a lot of the stuff that you see guys do after breakups, it's literally trauma responses. They don't know how to process what they just went through. So they make a lot of irrational decisions and things that they normally wouldn't do, but they're out there doing it. So,
So what we're gonna do, how we're gonna start this thing off, I have 5 questions that I'm going to ask Gator from my perspective, something that I would like to know about men and how they handle heartbreak. And then he's gonna do the same for me. And I'm just gonna give him the floor to answer the questions and me to just take in the information and listen and not interject with my opinion or my perspective. We just want to be able to give each person the floor to just really express, their answers to these questions. So I'm going to start out with my first question.
You.
How did your first real heartbreak change you as a person?
Ooh. Well, I can only speak to the temporary changes because I don't think it changed me specifically as a person. Not my first one. But I think that it did allow me to understand what I just talked about, which is those trauma responses. And a lot of times those trauma responses are responses that you have that are influenced by outside parties. A lot of times, I can speak from my first one. My friends were like, man, get over her. It's all good, man. Man, get in them streets, man. Look, this girl here, is too many fish in the sea, that type of thing. And I, was kind of pushed to just get over it, right? But in actuality, it hurt for a long, long time. But it did change my perspective temporarily on women, and how I did have a lot of ill feelings before I got to a point where I could understand both sides of the coin. She was no good, she was this, she was that, and I vented all of those things, and it took a while for me to sit back and analyze the situation before I realized that I was just being irrational.
Okay. All right. So my second question, after a major breakup or heartbreak, have you had a support system of friends or family that you could open up to about how you were feeling? And did it make a difference or not?
So I know that I really didn't have a real support system, right? Like I had a couple of friends that I, talked about briefly the relationship and, being heartbroken, and they just kind of brushed it to the side and, man, get out there. I don't want to hear about that. But a lot of that is, the bravado that men have. There was none where I could kind of air out my grievances, and, there was no shoulder to cry on in that scenario. There was literally, man, get up off your butt and get back out here in these streets. So as far as family goes, to be honest, I was kind of ashamed to speak to anyone in my family about the heartbreak or whatever, that because a lot of times you are happy, how it gets when you're happy in a relationship, you're bragging and you have this person around with you and all that, and it was hard for me to go back and face my family without this person, because I had this picture painted that everything was wonderful, and all of a sudden this picture is no more. So it took a while for me to be able to even speak to my family about the breakup in general, much less to lean on them for any support.
Okay, so I heard you say you really didn't have any support, so you just made it through by yourself.
Oh yeah, and I think a lot of men do. It's hard, like I said, we have that machismo, that bravado that kicks in, so it's hard for us to speak on more emotional topics, at least in a one-on-one or a friendship basis. It's hard for us to speak to friends about it.
Okay. All right. So question number 3. Do you believe that people ever truly get over a major heartbreak?
It depends on the person and it depends on the heartbreak. Me personally, I did. not my first heartbreak, but the major heartbreak that I could think of, or the worst one I could think of. It took a while. Eventually, I got over it, but it took a while. But I will say this: that heartbreak conditioned a lot of behaviors in me, to the point to where every relationship after that was compared to that relationship. And not just by me, but by people around me as well. Um, so when that issue happened, when that heartbreak happened, when that breakup happened, it was one of those things where how could it be so good and then so bad? So I found myself perpetually looking for the good parts of that relationship in other relationships. And when I didn't find it, then I would get sour about it. And it took me a while to realize that the good parts of that relationship, be they feeling good and all that kind of stuff, then weren't necessarily the best that God has to offer me. So I had to get rid of that thought and go for what's best. So, there's better out there. And I had to make up my mind to find it and not lean on the old relationship.
Got you. Okay, good. All right. Question number 4. Why do you believe that in a lot of cases it appears that men move on quicker than women do?
Because we move on in appearance. Like we visually move on. So the intangible stuff, what's going on in our heart, the heartbreak that we got, y'all don't see that part. Which what y'all do see is us going out there, and what y'all are seeing is the trauma response in play. What y'all are seeing is us going out there and having a good time and messing with this woman and that woman. And a lot of times it's in the vein of trying to get over that heartbreak. Because a lot of times men, like I said, we don't have a support system to lean on or to vent to or whatever. So we internalize a lot of those things. So we're internalizing the pain, but we're acting out the pain by doing irrational stuff. Messing with this woman, messing with that woman, doing all kind of craziness, and the bravado that we have, but based on it, man, women ain't this, women ain't that, all of that is a trauma response. That's not something we would have said when we was in a relationship, but now that we outside of the relationship, that bitterness and everything starts to come out. So you're seeing the trauma response, but our trauma response isn't necessarily the same type of trauma response that some women have. And sometimes guys do have that trauma response. Sometimes guys will sit there and be in emotional pain, and but the one thing I can say is that if men have a circle of friends around them, they're more likely to act out and start looking like they moved on a lot faster, because their male friends don't want to hear them vent about heartbreak. They want you to get back out there and get in these streets. And that's probably because that's the only way that they know how to deal with it.
Gotcha. Okay. And question number 5. What were some unhealthy ways that you've used in the past to cope with heartbreak? And what would you do differently if you had to go through that situation today?
There was so many unhealthy ways that I dealt with it in so many unhealthy ways. I mean, anywhere from drugs to alcohol to sex, all of the above most times. I talked about that relationship, that the major heartbreak earlier. When that happened, I was like one of them little rabbits. I was out here messing with this girl, that girl, this girl, that girl, this girl, and I was in pain. I mean, when I say literally, I disappeared off the face of the earth for like 4 or 5 weeks. People was calling my house, the job. I ain't care about my job. I ain't care about nothing, So when I was able to snap myself out of it a little bit, it was pure trauma response. Everything that I'm doing to try to get past this pain that I'm feeling. all of the alcohol, that I was drinking. 'Cause I was literally drinking a fifth of something a day, like literally. I was, messing with this woman and that woman, and then I was doing a lot of music stuff and stage stuff. So, I was messing with all kinds everywhere, and dealing with the industry. A lot of times, every drug there is to try, you have,
Yeah.
So, those are a lot of that was unhealthy ways of dealing with that pain that I had. Looking back on it, I think I would have just convince myself that, hey, maybe I need to talk to someone. I may not have the type of support system that everybody dreams of having, but maybe if I talk to some sort of counselor, maybe if I do something else with the pain, not even sure what it was I was going to do, but anything besides drinking myself to death and screwing myself to death and all that kind of stuff, anything besides that I would do.
Okay. Good. So I gave you the floor. I wrote down, some notes as you were going along. I just wanted you to get it all out with no feedback from me. I'll get into some feedback after you do your question. So whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
All right. So I got to tell you that we think a lot alike, and the reason why is because when I looked at my list of questions, right, many of the questions that I have are similar to the questions that you have. And maybe it's not necessarily that you and I think alike, although we have that vibe too. But I think it goes to the point that men and women are not that different when it comes to heartbreak and the things that they feel. Because the way that you ask those questions to me, those are things that you want to know. A lot of men want to know those exact same questions about women. So,
Okay.
but there are some differences here. For example, question number 1. Now, what was your initial reaction to your first heartbreak?
My initial reaction was just, I don't know. I was in shock. I remember a point of just being really still and trying to process the information and take it in, because it felt like, the blood stopped in my body. It felt like my heart stopped beating at that moment. It felt like everything stopped at that moment when I realized what it really was. And it just took me a moment to process it and then kick back into action. So my first response was just numbness and shock.
Right.
And,
gotcha.
And a feeling of, just a feeling of, I don't know, it just felt like everything came crashing down. It was like, phew, everything's over.
Gotcha. And I'm gonna circle back to that after we finish asking the questions, because that's important. So the second question, it goes back to something that you asked, and I think I'm gonna ask this to you because I think for women there's gonna be a different answer. Now, how important was having the correct support system around you? And actually, to amend the question, did you have the correct support system around you for your most major heartbreak?
I had people around me, but I can't really say that it was a healthy support system. Much like you, I kind of felt like I had to hide some of my pain because I didn't want to look weak. I didn't want I wanted my friends to think that, I'm handling it well. It's not affecting me that much. I'm okay. I didn't want anybody to be worried about me. I didn't want anybody to, you know, like get tired of me. Like,
Right.
oh, she crying again, or she still crying over this dude, or when is she gonna get over him? You know, I was in that mode of I didn't want to be a burden to anybody. I didn't want to look weak. So I didn't show all of the pain that I was going through. I hid some of it from my support system because, like you said, I was surrounded by people who were like, that ain't nothing. You could get over him and you can get somebody else and you ain't got to be sitting around. Girl, let's go out to the club and let's get your mind off of it. So, in that respect, I think it happens on both sides where you you think the other person is moving on faster, and it's like it becomes a competition where who can move on the fastest and who can look the happiest and who can pretend like they don't care about the breakup anymore. So I back there in that point of my life, it wasn't a really a healthy support system where I could really voice what I was feeling inside and feel like I would be accepted and not judged, and I would get support in that way. So I hid a lot of it.
Got you, got you. So the third question, we all have heard Sister Jasmine Sullivan, among others, Carrie Underwood, these people, and they talk about a lot of the repercussions of being on the other side of heartbreak. Uh, do you remember being vengeful after your heartbreak? And not just necessarily just vengeful towards him, but vengeful towards other men as well.
Hmm. Yes, I was vengeful towards the person who did it to me. I was vengeful toward any man that came after him because I went through a point where I was just empty and not being able to, not knowing how to heal in a healthy way. I carried the pain with me, and I pushed it down. I repressed it, and I did a lot of the unhealthy things that you named: sex, drinking, partying, just anything to distract myself. Becoming a workaholic, just doing anything to distract myself from the pain, not actually facing it. And so there was a point in my life where I just felt empty, and I didn't want to ever put myself in a position to be emotionally available to be hurt again. And so if I would deal with a guy in the future, I would make sure I get him before he get me.
Mm.
Or I would just be there for whatever I can get out of the situation, whatever temporary pleasure or a distraction that I can get from him in that situation, but not planning on sticking around.
Gotcha, gotcha. And the third question actually has a second part to it, but I had to get that first part out. So, saying that you were, vengeful, do you think that it may have negatively impacted a relationship that could have been fruitful with another guy?
Oh, definitely. Hmm. And even during that time when I was going through the situation, I knew consciously, I knew logically that this person doesn't deserve the way I'm treating them because they didn't do anything to me, and they're trying to be good to me. And I remember even thinking if I was in a different mindset, a different headspace, I might like this person. But I knew that I wasn't, I didn't have anything to offer. I was an empty shell. I didn't have anything to give. I was just there trying to fill a void. I was just there trying to numb some pain. I was just there trying to make it to the next day, to keep myself sane. But I knew in my mind that I wasn't doing the right thing. But at that time, I didn't care. I didn't care about me, so why would I care about you?
Gotcha. And that's important. We're gonna come back to that too in the question and answer. But gotta go to the fourth question here. Now, we talk a lot about closure out
Mhm.
and some people think of it negatively, some people say you don't need it, and some people are like, well, it's necessary. So do you feel that it was really important for you to get closure from your former partner in a heartbreak, or did you just say screw them and just move on?
Um, in certain situations, I wanted that closure. I held on for that closure. But looking back on it now, I realized it wasn't the closure that I was looking for. It was the one more chance. Because a lot of people fool themselves into thinking that they're trying to get closure from this person. What you're really trying to do is see if there's a glimmer of hope, if this person is going to say, I'm going to do better, I'm going to change, and I'm going to give you everything that you've wanted from me before. That's really what you're asking for. You're saying you want closure, or you just want to know the reasons why it didn't work out or why they did what they did. But I look back on it now, that wasn't it. I was just still holding on, because when you really are over somebody, you don't even care what the reasons was.
Mm,
You over it. So in
got
some
it.
instances, I did want closure. Sometimes I was just like, too much has happened. Nothing. There's nothing this person can say that could take back the pain they've given me. So I don't. I don't need closure.
Gotcha. All right. And then I've got number five here. Now, number five is controversial to a certain extent here. Now, did you embrace or reject your spirituality after your most major heartbreak? Because some people think that it's, part of the reason you get your heart broke is because you're being, faithful, and being, doing things the Christian way.
Hmm.
But a lot of times people are like, you need to reject that and just get rid of the screw up. But it can be helpful to some people to lean on their relationship with God or their higher power.
Yeah.
For you, did you embrace that spirituality or did you reject it?
Now, my very first heartbreak, which was the hardest one for me, I did not embrace my spirituality because I wasn't in a place at that time in my life to even turn toward it. And that is why I had a series of heartbreaks after that, because I was trying to um, deal and heal in my own way, in the unhealthy ways that I've learned from growing up. So that was, I grew up in church, but I didn't have a personal relationship with God. I didn't even believe that I could turn to Him for that kind of stuff. And I felt like, I've messed up so bad, God ain't gonna want to hear what I gotta say anyway.
Mm,
Why you go mess the whole thing up and then you want God to come and get you out of it?
right.
So I didn't even feel like I had the right to, and I felt too embarrassed to turn to God. And then I felt like, He wouldn't want to hear what I gotta say anyway. And so at
Mm,
that point in my life, I did not.
gotcha. So that was actually not the last of my questions because when I was thinking about five questions, I had to figure out what five I really wanted to put in here. But I'm gonna throw one bonus question out because it is something that you kind of asked me, and I think that men feel this pressure, but I'm not exactly sure women feel it the same way. So, number six, did you ever feel pressure from the outside or from yourself to just get over your heartbreak? Did you
Hmm.
get to a point where people were pushing on you like, girl, just get over it, just when you knew that you were still in internal turmoil?
Well, for me, it was more of my own personal pressure to get over it, because I didn't want the other person to think that they, got over on me, or that they had me down, or, your pride kicks up and you're like,
Right.
I'm going to show you, I'm going to do way better without you than when I was with you. And so you go on this tangent of trying to prove to the world that you're doing better. You're making more money now. You're going more places now without them. My life is way better without you. And that was my internal pride. My pride was pushing me to do all of that. And it was all a lie. It was all fake. It was all a facade. But at least I was fooling everybody else. At least I didn't have to hear, oh, poor Erica, she done went down since she ain't with such and such no more. Or, all the stuff that you don't want to have to face and deal with. And so it was me pressuring myself to move on and knowing I wasn't over it.
Gotcha. You won't get him the satisfaction.
No. You ain't gonna see me down.
Right. And it's funny, and I know we're about to go into more of a question and answer. I know we've just been kind of sitting here listening to each other, but just to chime on that, it's funny how you do see that a lot online, on social media. When you have all these people putting these posts out that are just like, it's not, I chased the bag, I did, and just that self-glorification, just to put that stuff out there. But in actuality, they're really just trying to hype it up so that whoever it was that may have broken their heart or that they had a bad relationship with doesn't see that they are having a rough time with it too. Because they can't give them the satisfaction of knowing that, my heart was broken. Men do that a lot, but what I've been seeing is we don't do it on social media. What it seems to be is this is mostly women that do it on social media. Men, they'll just go out in the streets and whatever. I ain't worried about her. But women got to make sure that he know and everybody around him and all her friends know. So it was just something I observed. I was actually looking at Instagram today and I saw someone that I know for a fact just had an issue, and looking at some of the posts they've been making, it's like, oh, this is a trauma response.
Exactly. And once you really know, you recognize what it is because you've been there. When you see it, you automatically know what it is, and you just shake your head and you're like, yeah, know what you're going through, been there. But I'm telling you right now, this is not the way that's gonna help you get over it. That fake it till you make it mentality. All it does is it prolongs the process. Yeah. And then it compounds the process, because you can fake it for so long and then fake yourself out. And you really be thinking that you over something. Right. And then you'll go get into a new situation. And that's when all that old stuff comes back. And then you realize you're not over the other stuff because you didn't deal with it. You just suppressed it. You kind of learn how to walk around it, deal with it. But it's going to keep coming back up until you deal with it. And that's how you find yourself in all of these different situationships or relationships, and they keep blowing up in your face in the same way because you have not dealt with what you were supposed to deal with in the first place. Right,
exactly. So, but yeah, those are my questions, and I think that this is really good because it, like I said again, kind of shows that men and women they do think on the same wavelength a lot of times when it comes to heartbreak. I can say as a man that, hey, I just told you, look, there was a few times actually, but one time in particular I remember literally just not moving off my couch for like a month Literally just like, I ain't care about the job. I ain't care about nothing. I'm just, I can't do it. My heart is just too broke to even walk outside my door. Men do feel heartbreak and do feel trauma.
And I think it's important for men and women to understand that about each other. When you see a man acting out in a way, when you see him being bitter and hateful towards women, be able to understand there's a deeper root to that. There's some pain there. Yeah, he's hurting other people in the process, but there's some pain under all of that. Now, we're not giving nobody permission or license to go hurt people just because you hurt. We're saying we recognize where it's coming from, but it's still your responsibility not to hurt other people just because you hurt. And that's why we having these conversations, because if men and women can really recognize these things in each other, we can be more empathetic towards each other and not think that they're out to tear me down or they're out to tear me down. No, we're both hurting. And this is the way we're expressing our hurt towards each other. We need to heal the hurt first so we can see each other for who we really are, and not through that lens of the pain that you're going through.
Right. And again, like you just said, I just want to reiterate this. We ain't said deal with the mess, because if a guy's going through something and he's got issues and he's being, acting in a very derogatory way towards you, and he's doing it, he may not be healed, but that don't necessarily mean it's your job to heal him either.
No.
Right. So there's times when you need to, to cast that away till he heals. I mean, I'm gonna put it like this: if you have a broken hand, if somebody got a broken hand, and you relying on them to help you out with something, you're gonna be hindered because they've got a broken hand. So you're
not a doctor.
Empathy. Right. You can have empathy, but you can't heal that broken hand. And if you're trying to get to a certain spot, that person's going to be a detriment to you until that hand gets healed. So just saying be empathetic, but that don't mean that you got to deal with if you feel that they're healed enough to where you can, be with them or whatever, that's fine. Try to look for that. Don't try to find, because there are some people who find projects out there that was my problem. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, ain't nothing that bad with him. He just got 4-5 baby mamas, but that's all right. Over that, or the one I see a lot is the one. Well, he be cheating and he be doing all that kind of stuff. He just need a good woman, though. If he had a good woman like me, he wouldn't cheat.
Baby, let me tell you something. He done had several good women that he done broke them down before you. You're not gonna be the savior in that story. I'm so sorry to tell you. That was my problem. I thought I wanted to fix other people because I felt like if I could fix somebody else, maybe that would make me feel better inside.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. That's like, you cannot go into a situation that you had no dealings with, you don't even know the history of it, and think you're going to rewire and recalibrate that thing and fix it up. For one, you're going into a situation that you're not even equipped to handle because you're a broken person yourself. And we cannot be our mate's therapist. You cannot be in love with somebody and also be their therapist, because you're emotionally tied to the situation. You're not going to give unbiased advice. The advice that you're going to give is going to be coming from an emotional place because you care so much. You have to give a person, just like you said, if somebody comes to you with a broken limb, what you're going to do? You're going to take them to the emergency room because you're not a doctor. You didn't go through 12 years of medical school to know how to fix somebody. You're going to take them to an expert. So if somebody is broken inside and broken mentally, they need to go to an expert. And you're not the expert because you're still mapping out your own stuff.
Exactly. And again, sometimes I have to preface this because you start to realize the power of your words sometimes. We're
Mm-hmm.
not telling you not to be there for your partner. That's not what we're
Mm-mm.
saying.
Mm-mm.
Or to be a listening ear for your partner. What we're saying is if your partner has some sort of deep down emotional trauma, it's not your job to fix it. And to be honest, you could make it actually worse by
Mm-hmm.
trying to. Maybe
Ooh.
help them, seek therapy and stuff like that. And we're not talking about like normal stuff like, yeah, I just was having a bad day and da 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 da. We they tell them, I don't want to talk to you about that. That sounds like a personal problem. Not that.
Mm-hmm.
What we're talking about is the deep-seated emotional trauma.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that we want to make sure that they go get help for. Those are the broken hands that we're talking about in that scenario. And I don't want to just put it on women, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because men, we do it too. You already know I had my cape pressed in and ready in my
With the
closet
S on the
at
chest.
all time with the S ready at the drop of a dime. The more trauma she gave me, the better it
Ooh.
was. Because
Yes.
I was always thinking, like sometimes and I can say it now. If a woman, there was a point in my life where if a woman didn't have any trauma, then it wasn't as attractive.
Yeah. If
It was
she
just
got her
like
stuff together, what I need her for?
it's like what are you whatever. I don't know. She got family problems.
Right.
She's still separated from her husband, and she just needs somebody to
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
some, my car and everything's down, and I just don't have, these baby daddies just give it. I was ready.
Captain Save 'em.
I'll assist with that bill, ma'am.
So here's a question that I had that I was thinking about. I really believe that if our society wasn't the way it was, where we condition men to be one way and we condition women to be one way, if we had the same, if men and women were both raised with the same conditioning, we would handle situations the same way. I don't think men feel heartbreak any less than we do. They just been socially conditioned to handle it in a different way. A man
Yeah.
is not supposed to cry. A man ain't supposed to feel no pain. He not supposed to show no hurt. And so when you're going through the most hurtful thing in your life, you don't know what to do with it because you've been
Right.
taught you're not even supposed to be feeling that way. So
Right.
what
Right.
do
Right.
you do with it? You can't go to your boys and
Mm-mm.
say, man, this girl broke my heart. I am hurting. I'm not good right now. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get over her. You're not going to be able to say that
Mm-mm.
because you're not going to be met with any kind of sympathy. You're not going to be met with any kind of understanding. All you're going to be told to do is man up and get over it, man. There's plenty
Right.
of women out here. What
Right.
you crying over that one for?
Right. And depending on what hood you grew up in, you might get beat up. Man, this girl, man, she broke my heart. Get him, man. What?
Yeah, love. He if she didn't have no trauma, he wasn't attracted to her.
So it sounds so weird to hear that, right? But I think it was more of those lines where it was almost like a building project type scenario, right? This
Mm-hmm.
is the person that people can cast off because they're this reason or that reason or whatever. So I would be more empathetic to those things, and I would always want to come in and show them that somebody cares and somebody can, and inadvertently in the process of healing myself, it was using them kind of as a sounding board for that healing. So I was
Mm-hmm.
helping them to get better and to get through what they were going through in the hopes that it would help me get through the things that I needed, that I was going through. And if
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have some form of trauma going on, some sort of issues with this or issues with that. I told you about some of that stuff, Eric. Some of that stuff was deep with some of the women. I would be like, oh man, But if there was somebody who didn't have anything going on and didn't have any trauma, Yeah, they'd be attractive, but I couldn't really pull out my cape. I couldn't save them. I couldn't come and save the day, you know. And when you're going through this internalization of trauma, and you're you know, a lot of times men's default is ego. Our default is bravado. So I can't use my ego to save this person who's whole, but this person who's drowning, I can come in, save them, and feel better about myself because I came in and saved them.
Thank you. And if you really think about it, it just tells you what your level of healing is by what attracts you, because we're attracted to people who are familiar to us. We are attracted to things that remind us of something.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've had guys in my past who seemed to be well put together, had it all together. They didn't have a bunch of issues, but I wasn't attracted to that because I felt like I was damaged. And what would you see in me?
Right.
So I needed somebody who's more like me, who understands the struggles I've been through, the things that I've been through, and we can relate to each other. And so I would go and find either somebody who's as damaged as I am or a little more damaged than me, where I can be the fixer, the helper, the saver. And that all that stemming from trauma responses, abandonment issues, because when your self-esteem is low, you want to make sure you get somebody whose self-esteem is on your level, not higher than yours.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that person who's got it all together, why do they want me? Yeah. Why would they come over here and want me? Now, this person who got these issues over here, I can come talk to them. They'll be on my level. They can understand because they went through the trauma and the pain too. We can get down together. You know, we could be trauma partners.
Thank you. Exactly. And so that's why I think it's so much easier when we do see women going through a heartbreak. It's easier for women to open up about their pain. It's easier for women to rally up a group of women to support them and talk about it, because we've been conditioned as women that our emotions are our resource. And we don't have to shy away from our emotions, and we should tap into our emotions, and we should, feel what we're feeling, and, be able to, we can get away with walking around and at our job and crying over a man that broke our heart, because everybody's going to feel sympathy for us. And it's not going to be an unusual thing. You're not going to get somebody come slap you on the back and say, girl, woman up. Because you're going to get a bunch of women who are going to be like, oh, girl, I've been through it before. I know exactly how you feel. Girl, just cry about it. Just let it out. Just feel it. But a man is not going to get that kind of support. But that's why we need to bridge the gap and understanding, because we have had, that misogynistic mindset. It doesn't just stop with men. Women have been indoctrinated into that too, where we would see a man who's expressing his emotions and crying, and a lot of women would say that that's a weak man. I don't want a man like that. I don't want a man who cries all the time. So they don't understand. They've got internal misogynistic mindsets themselves as a woman. The thing that you don't want misogyny to work against you when it's to your detriment. But when you want a man to man up for you, step up for you, then you'll take some of that misogynistic beliefs and you'll turn it against him.
Right. You definitely don't want. I mean, so I've been in that because I'm an emotional person, right? So I have no problem displaying my emotions to folks, and I will talk to people. I will let them know exactly how I'm feeling. I've always had pushback on that. Some women are fine with that. Other women, they'll be like, well, you telling me a whole lot. I don't really be concerned with how men feel. And I think that goes to
Wow.
what you were saying, is that it's, there were, so I put it on, some women had that issue based on what they saw on
Yeah.
TV, or
Hmm.
what the idea of what a man was supposed to be,
Right. I don't.
and
A man ain't supposed to cry because that's supposed to be my job. I'm the
right,
only
right,
one who could cry in this relationship. Because he got
exactly,
to be strong for me so I can fall apart. You
right.
know, that's crazy.
I
Because
mean,
if you get one of those, and he don't have no emotions, there's gonna come a time when you're gonna need him to have some emotions, and he not gonna have none for you either.
right, exactly. So leaders don't lead by logic alone.
Mm-mm.
Leaders have to be empathetic. Leaders have to have an emotional sensitivity. So when women are always say that they're looking for a man to be a leader in the home, you can't look for a man to be a leader who only leads with logic and is callous about everything else. That
Mm-hmm.
man has to have some sort of emotional stability, emotional
Empathy.
availability to you, and empathy, because he can't lead something he doesn't understand.
A
If
leader
you
without empathy
Right.
is gonna be a tyrant.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's gonna lead with a steel pen. He's gonna be like, "Do what I say because I said so, and I don't care how you feel about it."
Right.
You want someone with
Exactly.
empathy who can feel what you feel, so they will lead you. They would lead. That's it's the best for the whole group, and not just what they want.
Right.
So I think it's really the social conditioning. I think that men and women both feel the same pain for heartbreak. I think it just looks different. And then, to be honest with you, a lot of women have adapted some of the mindsets and behaviors that men do. When we see y'all pretending like y'all don't care, like y'all moved on, like y'all are already in a new relationship and your life is good, women are doing that too now.
Yeah.
Women are not, they're not sitting around and crying anymore. They're moving on real fast, and it's not any better for either side. It's not better for either side. I don't recommend anybody get out of one relationship and instantly move on to the next to try to look like you're moved on when you know you haven't, because all you're doing is using people. You're
Right. You can
using
end up,
people.
yeah, you're using someone who is possibly can get emotionally attached just for your own healing, and that's awful. Why would you want, because you wouldn't want anybody to do it to you.
Hmm.
You wouldn't want to be what they call a jump off, or you don't want to be
The rebound.
rebound. That was
Hmm.
look, you don't want to be the rebound. So why would you think that anybody would want to be your rebound?
Right. Yeah. So I think we handle it a lot more alike than we do differently. Sometimes it might look different. You know, I do feel that because of the social conditioning of men, it takes y'all a lot longer to get over a heartbreak, because it takes y'all a lot longer to actually deal with it in the right way.
Oh yeah.
Because you cope with it with a lot of distractions and unhealthy numbing practices before you actually deal with the pain. I think it takes y'all to actually fall on your butt, or for somebody that really means a lot to y'all in y'all life to actually say, dude, something wrong with you,
Hmm.
because you've been going through here, and you've been going through all these different women. You've been smoking, you've been drinking, you don't even go to your job like you, and I'm sick of you, and I need
Hmm.
you to do something different. It takes y'all to get a big wake up call. Whereas
Yeah.
women, we've already got things in place where we actually know, you know, we need to work on ourselves. We need to heal. We need to go ahead and feel the feelings. We need to go through the process. We need to get over it. And so it takes, we don't take as long as y'all take to get over something, because we're actually working on getting over
Right.
it when y'all are doing a lot of distracting.
Right, which is, and I'm glad you said that, because before we wrapped up, that was actually the point that I was going to go back to when we were talking earlier. One of the questions I had is how important is having the correct support
Hey,
system.
Ursula.
Hey, what's going on, Ursula? Welcome to the virtual congregation. But yeah, one of the things I was saying was, how important is having the correct support system around you. And I'm glad you circled back, because that's kind of what I was going to try to wrap with. It's like, as a man, and I'm speaking to men specifically in this scenario, well, a lot of times we don't have an adequate support system. So what I would recommend to men, anytime that we are having those feelings, that heartbreak, to not necessarily internalize it. I would say those are the times when we should start saying, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to seek some therapy. Maybe I need to, go sit on a couch somewhere, or maybe just make a phone call. There's, all types of like lines right now that you could call and just talk. And the person on the other line, they're just listening to you vent.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need that as men, because you would be amazed how many men don't say anything. They'll go through, this trauma, and there's nobody to talk to. There's not anybody on the other side of the phone that they can at least have. Sometimes that's all we need. Sometimes all we need is somebody to say, man, that's messed up, man. I feel for you, man. If you need to talk, just let me know. And sometimes that's all we need.
Yeah.
But you'll be amazed at how many men don't have it and don't get it.
Yeah.
Even when we do find the nerve to approach family members or friends, they completely shut that down, man, whatever. No, just like women, men need that space to be able to vent. And if you're going through it and you don't have nobody to pick up the phone on the other side, find somebody to pick up the phone on the other side. Go to therapy, call one of the like better help lines or something like that, because internalizing that trauma is like pressure. And if you continue to internalize, then all you're doing is putting more and more pressure on your heart, on your emotions. And what happens when you put too much pressure on something? It bursts.
Yes.
So, and you begin to act out. So call someone, be it don't have to be somebody you know. Sometimes it's better for it not to be. Sometimes it's better to have a therapist talk to you, because they'll have an unbiased opinion and, advice on what to do.
Yes. And I would tell men, if you don't feel comfortable going to another man and talking about your pain and your emotions, find a trusted female that you can talk about it with. Somebody who's not invested in the situation. Somebody who will not take sides. Somebody who will just listen to you, and not judge the situation, not judge your feelings. Just listen and validate that your feelings are valid, that you're supposed to feel what you're feeling. Now let's talk about how you process them and what those feelings will make you do next, because we don't want to let those feelings make you go do more hurtful things to yourself and to other people. And that's what causes a lot of the the compounding trauma, is that you don't even realize that the feelings you're feeling, you're supposed to be feeling that, because you have so many people telling you, oh, you shouldn't feel like that. Oh, why you feel like that? Or why you thinking like that? Well, why you so worried about that girl? Why? I mean, it wasn't really that serious, was it? Why you ain't, why you sad over her? Because I am.
Right.
Because I am and I can and I feel it. And don't tell me I'm not supposed to feel like this.
Exactly. And one thing I do want to say too on that side of it, I mean, I understand respecting and acknowledging your elders and all that kind of stuff, but this is a new day. There's a lot of old ways that we look at, like some old ways is nice, but one of the old ways that we tend to embrace and we shouldn't have is that same thing. A man ain't supposed to cry, man ain't, and a lot of these older folks will sit on you and they'll be talking to you about what a man is supposed to do and how they're supposed to act and all that. And a lot of the advice they give ain't necessarily the best advice. So I would say seek out advice outside of that normal circle sometimes that you're in. Go to a therapist, go to someone else, find a trusted female friend, because a lot of times we have to break the old ways so that we can heal ourselves and we don't have to worry about these same issues coming up in the next generation that we got going.
Exactly. So validate your feelings. We can go on Google and find anything to support what we believe and what we want to believe in. You can go and find somebody who will validate your feelings and tell you that it's okay to feel the way that you feel. You are not wrong for being sad. You are not wrong for being angry. You are not wrong for any of those feelings. And so we need to stop telling men that they're not supposed to feel a certain way or that they're wrong for how they feel. It's not about how you feel. It's about how your feelings make you act.
Right. And just for everybody out there, make sure you're processing the emotions healthy. Healthy processing is great. Anger will come, process it. Great. Just process. No more keying up cars. No more busting out windows.
Yeah, did that in the past. Realized it didn't work. Didn't work.
It felt good at the time, though, didn't it?
It felt. You know what? It really didn't feel that good because it was embarrassing. It was like, how did I let this person turn me into this person?
Right.
Because I've never been this person before. So how did I allow this person to come into my life and make me do things that are against my nature and, could get me in trouble? Like stabbing people tires and busting windows could get me in jail. Is this person worth that? But when you're at that point where you feel like they've done so much to me, I don't know what else I can do to make them see that how deeply this hurts me. And if I can't hurt you back in the same way you hurt me, I'll take something from you. But I'm not going to allow you to just do me something and don't get no consequences.
Right. And I think that's really what it is. How dare you hurt me and I can't hurt you?
Right. How dare you hurt me and then you walk around with your chest stuck out like you don't have to suffer any of the consequences of what you've done to me. Oh, don't worry. God taking too long, so I'm gonna go ahead and handle it.
Say God taking too long.
Yeah.
Hold on, Jesus. I got this.
Know, right. Like my deal said, I know God said he gonna get them, but you're taking too long. I want to see it now.
Ursa said it felt good to me. Don't judge.
Yeah, temporarily it felt good. But immediately after the adrenaline and all that came down, I was like, oh, I'm disgusted with myself.
Yeah,
I don't want to be seen as the crazy girlfriend busting windows, and I don't want to be seen as that.
Right. Well, the problem with that is that there's a whole lot of women now who are like, oh, I feel validated by some of these people who be busting out windows and stuff now. She said, I said what I said.
No.
Flip the table. Lord.
Not no more, baby. You know what? Back in the day, some of those things are just they're gonna go to the grave with me.
Statute of limitations might not have passed.
Yeah. Yes, but this was good. I love this. This was our first spotlight convo. Everybody in the comments, watching, listening, if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this conversation, please come back to us every Sunday at 6:30 Central Standard Time, where we have dope discussions, dope guests, dope conversations. We talk about relationships, dating, mental health, and how all those three things integrate into each other. Today, we just had this great conversation about how men and women handle heartbreaks, the similarities and the differences. And I think we both found out that we kind of feel the same way about it. It's just the different social conditioning for men and women that kind of make it look different, but it's all the same.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all beautiful people out here next week. Share this, by the way. Just because the show is in, that don't mean you can't share it out. Share it, like it. Make sure all your people, your mom and them and all them know that they've got a place to come every Sunday.
Yes, whether you're watching us live or you watching the replay, please share, like, subscribe, leave us some comments. Tell us how you felt about today's conversation. This was our first of many. We're going to have more people coming on our platform to do these spotlight convos where me and Gator would just be in the background, taking care of the controls, while our male and female guests are out here having that spotlight conversation. Y'all give us some suggestions of topics that y'all would like to see one man and one woman talk about. Send us an email. Let me put our contact information up here. Y'all can send us an email to our email address. That's 3650gsuite@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at dopediscussions_pod. You can also connect with us on TikTok. We're not currently on Facebook. I just deactivated the Facebook page, but you can follow us on TikTok. And let me see. I did have an announcement to make. Let me bring that back up. Let me take this down.
Yeah, I forgot about Super Bowl Sunday.
So let me see. Where's my phone? Okay, this is the announcement that I needed to make. This is going to be Family Fun Day in the park right here in Hammond, Louisiana. The UMX Markets is giving a family fun day of food, clothing, sweets, vendors. They're going to have music, carnival games, a photo booth, raffles, arts and crafts. They're going to be having a workout on the lawn. Food vendors will be out there for you to buy food. And this event is being put on by UMX Market Experience. This is a local organization that helps Black businesses put their business out there and connect with local customers and clients. They have all kinds of different businesses. This is going to be Saturday, March 12th, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Z. Murray Park, right here in Hammond, Louisiana. If you're from Hammond, you know where Z. Murray Park is. And this event is being given by the UMX Urban Market. So let me give you a little information about them. Their services, they help business development. UMX grows your business. We utilize 4 stages of building your business. We also offer financial support. Business analysis. We identify business needs and determining solutions to business problems. Business markets. UMX hosts business markets and are a part of the St. Tammany Hamburger Festival in support of business growth. They offer entrepreneur courses and they collaborate with institutions and companies to teach all things business. UMX has successfully assisted business owners in meeting their goals. They have a 100% success rate in client business success. Schedule a consultation today and see how we could help your business grow. So you can contact them at 985-318-2233. You can email them at info@umxurbanmarket.org, or you can visit their website, which is www.umxurbanmarket.com. They also have an office right here in Hammond that's on 700 Martin Luther King Avenue, Hammond, Louisiana, 70403. Your girl, yours truly, I will be out there at Family Fun Day on March the 12th, and I will be interviewing all of the local business owners, and then I will be broadcasting that on our channel so they can get some exposure, so everybody in this area will know the Black business owners in this area, the services and the products that they offer, so we can build a community of Black business owners, support and keep that money in the Black community. So that was the announcement that I had for y'all today before we close out. Gator, did you have any closing remarks before we get out of here? You on mute.
There we go. Now, no, I was going to say that it's, again, just been an honor talking about these things and running these conversations because they're definitely needed. And I believe that, if you've learned anything today, it's that men and women do deal with heartbreak in very similar ways. The big thing, be empathetic. Be empathetic to the women that you meet that are going through it. Be empathetic to the men that you meet that might be going through it. And hey, look, we'll see y'all later. Look, Ursula say Super Bowl Sunday next week. I'm like, oh, wait, okay.
Yes. And next Sunday, well, whoever, if you're not interested in the Super Bowl, which the Saints ain't playing, so it don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, we'll be back here next Sunday, and we're going to have a special guest, Coach Love, and she is going to be discussing, is it really a safe place for Black men to be vulnerable in our world today? So that's what we're going to be talking about. Is it really safe for Black men to be vulnerable? And if not, how can we start the process of making it a safe place for Black men to be vulnerable? Because we got to bring Black men down to a human experience and stop putting them on that superhuman mountaintop and expecting them to perform at that level.
Right. I can agree.
So without further ado, thank you everybody for your likes, your shares, your comments, and subscribing to our channel. And we will see y'all again next Sunday.
Peace out.